What is up, everybody? Ninja Nick here with Tactical Gaming, bringing you guys a Elder Scrolls video. So, with all the huge talk about the remasters for the New Vegas and Fallout 3, which everyone's known about for the last few years because of the leaks, but with it being confirmed, people are happy. Now, this is strictly going to be about Elder Scrolls 6 and what it should have and what it should be, especially with how much time they've had to work on it. Because this was probably by far the best Elder Scrolls game they've ever released, other than Oblivion, in my opinion, because Oblivion had a lot of aspects in it that were really good, really great, right? And it made you want to actually get better at your skill than some of the stuff in Skyrim, right? Skyrim was more open for you to be able to build instead of like how it was closed off with Oblivion and other ones where you had to select the ones you want and those were the only ones that leveled you up, right? I still wish they would go back to that aspect of being able to create your own custom class, right? Like how you could in Oblivion, right? Do that again. Bring that aspect back. Now, granted, still leave it like this to where even if you're using other skills, you're still going to level up. But you're not going to get it as much experience or level boosting when it comes to your main abilities, right? So, bring that aspect back. I would love to see that aspect back, right? Not only that, NPC characters that you come across throughout the entire story, there's multitudes of people who are mixed blood races, right? You have Argonians that are mixed blood race with humans and other creatures and all that other kind of stuff. Same thing with orcs. Matter of fact, in Oblivion, there is a character who you meet who is the Colosseum champion, right? Well, he's a half-blood orc. You can't create a half-blood anything in the game of Elder Scrolls at all. That would be a great character customization to bring into the game to where you could be like half Khajiit and half Breton, right? Or half Nord and half Argonian, or maybe even half Nord and half Breton or like whatever. Anything. Like mix match the races, which then gives you a combination of different abilities, right? And depending on what race you combine depends on the weaknesses and everything else, right? So if you go Dark Elf and High Elf, you might get a little bit of the Dark Elf aspects of, fire resistance and a little bit of the High Elf aspect of, being really good with magic but very weak to magic, right? Something kind of like that. Mixed blood character creation would be phenomenal. Okay? Another thing I would love for them to bring into this game, right, when it comes to customization, would be spell customization and spell creation. If you've never played the previous Elder Scrolls games, you need to play the previous Elder Scrolls games, okay? Because in Elder Scrolls Morrowind, right, that's 3. One of the best. That was the game that got me into Elder Scrolls. That's the game that made me want to go play Elder Scrolls 1 and 2, right? Elder Scrolls 3, you were able to levitate and float and do all this other kind of stuff with magic. You can't do that in any of the other games. They completely took that aspect away. They're like, nah, we're never doing that again. Spell creation and customization, especially if you're going to the College of Mages and you're studying and your whole thing is, creating spells. You can't create spells at all in Skyrim. Okay, but they talk about it all the time, especially at the Mages College. What the heck? That was an aspect that was in Oblivion that was phenomenal. Being able to create spells was awesome. That was great. And depending on like your skill with that type of spell, so like if you created a destruction spell that like was super powerful, but you didn't have the skill for it, guess what? You created an awesome spell, but you can't use it yet. That was a thing that was in that game. Maybe that's why they took it out, because maybe some people didn't understand the spell customization creation aspect of the game, but doesn't mean you can't get to that point. Bring that aspect back. Bring back the dynamics of spell customization and combos. being able to combine like some kind of wind spell and fire spell to create a firestorm, right? Or like some kind of crazy wind and ice spell that brings like some kind of ice storm, right? Bring spell customization and combos into this game. With the engine that they're using, there's no excuse for them to sit there and do that, right? That is something I would love to see in this game. Be great. So, here's going to be something that's going to be talking about Fallout 4 slightly. The building aspect in Fallout 4, like the homesteading, right? Because you were able to homestead in this game, which was great. Great aspect, being able to have a little section where you can build a house and customize it, do it in your own way. That was awesome. Fallout 4 comes out. Same thing. They made it slightly better. Now, granted, of course they did, because they took what was in Skyrim, put it in Fallout 4, and they're like, okay, well, this is what we're going to add to it. Do exactly that with this next one, right? Now, granted, I kind of hope you give us a little bit more areas to choose from. Maybe give us certain areas where it's like, oh, hey, you can build here and you can build anywhere in this general area, instead of this is the only spot you can build, and then it limits your build, right? Especially if you're going to have multiple races and everything else, you should be able to have multiple different build styles. Now, granted, seeing this is going to be in Hammerfell, it's more likely going to be derived around Hammerfell style, which kind of makes sense, but still, if you're going to have people of multiple races and you're going to be able to create multiple characters of different races, you should be able to build whatever type of home you want, right? Because, I mean, it's not unheard of to be able to buy or build homes, because they've been doing that since Elder Scrolls 3, okay? In Morrowind, once you become a good member or good standing with quite a few of the Dunmer, you can buy or build homes. That is a thing. It's been a thing since Skyrim, or since Elder Scrolls 3. Skyrim's not the first thing that's ever done. It's like, oh my god, this is new. It's not. It's been in the game since 3, okay? Since Morrowind. Go play it. I know it's really hard to get, but if you go and play it on the original Xbox, or even on your new Xbox, and just kind of like do that, great game. Great game. Okay. How about also stop doing the werewolves dirty in the game? Like, I don't know what it is with the devs or the story writers or whatever it is when it comes to putting werewolves and vampires in the game, right? But for some reason, every single time werewolves get done dirty in Elder Scrolls. And it's irritating as crap for me, because I prefer werewolves over vampires, because with a werewolf, you don't have to worry about not being able to go out in the sun. Okay? As a werewolf, all you had to do, at least in Skyrim, all you had to do was worry about not transforming in front of other people. You don't have to worry. As a vampire, you have to kind of worry about the sun. Now, the funny thing is, with this one, they practically completely took away the vampire's weakness for sun, which is ridiculous and asinine. And so many people are like, oh, well, it's Skyrim. There's clouds everywhere, so, I mean, it should be fine. No. Even if there's clouds, unless, like, you're completely and totally shaded and not getting hit with the sun, cloud cover should still damage your health. That's not a thing. It just kind of just weakens you a little bit. But literally, as a werewolf in here, I mean, now granted, if you played Morrowind like I did, werewolves in that game were garbage if you try to become a werewolf in that game. Don't do it. Do not do it. And don't become a vampire either, because if you're a vampire and you're out in the sun for like a split second, you're dead. Dead. So funny. But in Oblivion, right, if I remember correctly, you couldn't become a werewolf at all in Oblivion. At all. Like, no werewolves whatsoever. They completely took them out. And then, right, you had the vampires. Vampires were still in Oblivion. Matter of fact, you have a couple vampire hunting missions that you do. One where you join a group of vampire hunters. But literally, visual aspects of what your face changes when you become a vampire. Now, granted, it's somewhat the same in Skyrim, but they still made you look more normal than you did in the previous games. What the heck? So, balance it out. Make it to the point to where, you know, the weaknesses for werewolves and vampires are there. Werewolves, weak to silver. Bring that back. Right? That's not something that they touch up on or talk about at all, except for when you're going against that one group of werewolf hunters in Skyrim. And the thing is, you don't really come across them all that much ever again in Skyrim. What was that? That should be like a constant thing. If you become a werewolf, that should be a constant thing. You're constantly dealing with either werewolf hunters, people who suspect you being werewolf, whatever, right? That should be a thing. Same thing with a vampire. As a vampire, you should be interacting with vampire hunters. You should be getting hunted as a vampire, especially if you're doing things as a vampire that vampires normally do, such as suck blood of people who are just sleeping or whatever else, right? So bring that aspect back. Make it more dynamic and more interesting, and balance it for people who want to be a werewolf and a vampire. If you're going to give vampires a badass skill tree like you kind of did in Skyrim, you got to give them a badass skill tree in the next game. Come on now. Balance it out. Right? So, relationships and marriages. Do exactly what you did with Skyrim. Right? Make it to the point where you can get married, but change it up to the point where basically almost any and all characters in the game, minus key NPC characters, you should be able to get married to. One of my biggest gripes of this game, right, is you play a Nord. You are now the Dragonborn, which technically, by Nord law, Nord backstory, Nord everything in Skyrim, you have the title. You can claim the title of High King of Skyrim. You cannot become the High King of Skyrim in this game. They completely and totally dodged one of the coolest aspects they could have made about this game, to where you go from just being some random dude on a fucking prison cart about to get beheaded to becoming a king. That would have been a great story aspect to add to this game. Now, granted, would everyone have done that? Yes, at least with one playthrough, everyone would have became High King, because why the hell not? Right? And you can become High King in one of two ways. You can be either High King and help the Empire, or become High King and overthrow Ulfric and become the High King of Skyrim. Why did they not do that? That would have been a great story aspect. That was missed. They could do the same thing for Hammerfell, except maybe not become High King, maybe become a king or a lord of some kind, something to the point where you feel more like you're actually like important, instead of, oh hey, I'm a Thane of every single hold in the game, which was an awesome aspect. Still bring something like that back, but make it seem like you're actually gaining control and power in the game, and not like, oh hey, I'm level 100, I can do whatever I want now. Right? Now, the home customization also should be a thing. Meaning, keep that in the game, much like how give us the same aspect of what we had in this game when it came to building homes. Bring that back. Bring that back, because that was an awesome aspect. Excuse me. But one thing I would like to see is faction choices. Kind of like how New Vegas did, right? And not only New Vegas, but Oblivion did that. Factions. And your choices in the game matter. Much like how in this game, depending on which side you choose, whether it's the Empire or the Stormcloak, stuff like that, right? Factions. And give us more than one or two factions, because, I mean, in this, they messed it up so bad. They really did. So, you are the Dragonborn. You're the only Dragonborn. The Blades who are like supposed to be following you, try to command you, and won't help you unless you literally kill Paarthurnax. So if you don't know any of this, I'm sorry that I'm kind of like ruining the story a little bit, but the Blades refuse to help you unless you kill Paarthurnax. So it's like, aren't you supposed to be sworn to be fighting alongside me because I'm the Dragonborn? I've proved and shown I'm the Dragonborn. You're supposed to follow me. The Dragonborn is supposed to be the High King, but not only the High King, but technically the king of the entire empire, because it was a Nord that created the empire. Okay? If you don't know that, historically, the whole entire of the empire was created by Talos, or technically Tiber Septim. He created the empire. He was a Nord who took control of the Nords, who then started taking control of other areas, and then took his seat in Cyrodiil and became the king of the empire. Which is why Nords have always been a part of the empire, because Nords are the empire. The empire are the Nords. They're the same thing. Okay? They literally completely took out the availability of you having your private army because you didn't take out Paarthurnax. If you choose to not take out Paarthurnax, you don't have the blades. If you take out Paarthurnax, the Greybeards, the ones who teach you the way of the voice, they won't help you. They won't talk to you at all. You no longer have allies with them, no longer at all, because Paarthurnax is now dead. Even though you're Dragonborn, and they are also supposed to be doing the same thing that the Blades are. Nullified just because of personal beliefs or personal grudges, right? So, don't do that again. Do not ruin a good story basis or a good aspect to where it's like, oh, look, hey, I can actually sit here and convince these people to work together because of this common enemy. Because generally, that's not how it goes. Even if you have 100% speech, you have everything that would be required to help you with, like, you know, certain kind of persuasions, won't happen. Because that's not how it's supposed to happen. That's not how they laid out the story. That's how they wrote it. Do not do that. If you're going to give us factions and choices and all this other kind of stuff, give us factions and choices. Don't give it, well, you can only choose this faction and this is the limited amount of choices. And I do mean limited. And I do really mean limited. New Vegas, which had 6 months of work time and release time and everything, right? New Vegas was probably one of the fastest worked games. Now, this is Obsidian, not Bethesda, right? They only had a certain amount of time to work on the game, and they released one of the best games that's been under the Bethesda banner ever. Now, of course, Obsidian's not the same game company anymore, and I have no high hopes of any game that they work on. Much like the next Elder Scrolls game, I have no hopes. I'm not gonna lie. I don't expect anything good to come out of this game with what I've seen, what they've done to ESO, with what they've done to 76, with how they have gone running Bethesda, and not only Bethesda, Microsoft. Now, granted, they did just gut the company completely and fire a whole bunch of people who are probably useless people, but that does not mean they got rid of the wokey people who ruined the games that we all grew up with, okay? We don't need another Veilguard. We do not need another Veilguard. Not only that, a whole bunch of other games. I'm just using Veilguard as the main one because Veilguard literally was a Dragon Age game. Different company, but this company is being ran in exactly the same way that Bethesda is. Woke as shit. So, I have no hopes for the next Elder Scrolls game. The next Fallout game. Like, supposedly Fallout New Orleans. Thank the gods. I used to hope and want them to come to Alaska to make a badass Fallout game. But now, with the way Bethesda is, Microsoft is, I don't want them anywhere near my state at the fuck all. At all, with how they are. They can go to New Orleans. They can go down there. I can tell you this much right now. If they make a Fallout New Orleans game, it's going to be woke as shit. It's going to be. I'm telling you right now. I have no hopes for it. Which is why, hopefully, the remasters they do for 3 and New Vegas, they do exactly like they did with Oblivion. Up the graphics a little bit. Change a few aspects, but nothing too dynamic. Don't take anything away. Leave the game the game. Okay? But once again, I digress and go back to it. Companions. Okay? Here's the other thing. Much like how you have companions, make them slightly smarter, right? Because if you've ever had a companion in this game, and I mean in this game, Skyrim, they can be some of the most annoying people to have follow you, because the fact of the matter is they get in the way a lot. A lot. So just make their AI slightly better, right? Slightly better. Like, make it to the point to where they know not to stand in a fucking doorway and just stand there. Make it to the point where if, like, you go face to face with them and they're standing in a doorway, they back up. Or if they're entering into a doorway, they come all the way in. Something as simple as that, because, oh my god. The fact that you would have to back all the way up and then let them enter into a room so that you can go out of a room. Oh my god. Then also take away the aspect of, oh hey, I'm gonna like bump into my like companion over and over again to try to move them, and then they start attacking you because you're hitting them over and over again because it counts as a hit. So FYI, if you did not know that, if you run into your companion enough, they will attack you because of that. So just keep that in mind. Pets would be an also aspect, right? Kind of like how, you know, you had dog meat in Fallout, right? You can get dogs in this game, but they die. Make it to the point where if you have a companion like a dog, it can't die. And or you can heal it, right? Make it to the point where you see the access to their health bar and you can heal them or revive them, because if you're going to give us aspects of, you know, being able to go and, you know, buy a pet for like 500 gold, which is a lot of gold for a dog when you think about it in this game, right? The thing should be practically immortal. 500 gold, that's a lot of gold for a dog. That's a lot of gold, right? A lot of gold. But bring in something like that, because I mean, I'm not talking about like a lot of pets, nothing crazy, but like depending on the area, cats, dogs, maybe some kind of other kind of like creature that's specific for Hammerfell, right? That can follow you around and act as a means of like maybe a pack mule. Maybe you can get a horse that follows you around that you can use as storage, right? Maybe you can get a donkey that uses storage, a saber cat, something that you can use as a mount in storage, not just horses. Okay, not just horses. Make it slightly interesting, kind of like how you did with ESO. Do that, right? Make it to the point where you can get multiple different styles of mounts, not just horses. Now, granted, that's not a huge thing for me, right? But one of the biggest in this game is being able to climb over small ledges. You can't do that. You can't do that at all. And the jumping fucking sucks, right? Now, in the previous games, this was beneficial when it came to levitation. You were able to levitate in the previous games. Like in Elder Scrolls Oblivion and in Elder Scrolls Morrowind, you can create or get spells or find spells or, you know, any kind of magical item. Like a staff that can help you levitate. So guess what? If you're trying to find something or go somewhere, but like you're like, okay, am I going the right way or is this the right direction? Oh no, I'm gonna have to like like awkwardly just scotch up and down this fucking hill. Hopefully I can get past it. That wasn't a thing in those games because you can find that, levitate, and get to your point. Bring that back. Or at least let us climb over small ledges. I'm not talking about like a big ledge, but a ledge that you can go up to, hit X or circle or whatever, and go climb. You just bring us that back, or make jumping better. Do one of those two, right? But those are the things I would love for them to bring to the next Elder Scrolls game. Is that what we're going to see in the next Elder Scrolls game? A little bit, probably, but probably not to the extent that we're hoping, right? In all honesty, my fear is they're going to Veilguard the shit out of the next Elder Scrolls game. They really are. Like, with who Microsoft has in charge currently right now, and with what they're doing with Bethesda and all these other game companies that they acquired, and I'm talking about Microsoft, I have no hopes that this is going to be like this or anything close. It's not going to be. Now, Would I love to see that? Yes. I would love to be proven wrong, and if it ends up being good, I will even say so I was wrong. But I don't think and I don't feel it. With what I've seen and what I'm hearing, and with how all these game companies, and I do mean all these game companies, like the release of the latest fucking Halo game, okay? Horrible. Like, all you have to do is remaster a game and you're going to change it that much. A bad idea. And that's my worry for the next Fallout games that are being remastered. I fear they're going to put some woke bullshit into those games to the point where it's like, none of this was in the game. Why'd you add this? Right? Don't want that. Now, I'm going to do a Fallout video that's going to be talking about these aspects, but at the same time, yeah, because it's Bethesda, it's also on my mind. Because these were great games. I love these games. I put so many hours in these games. I've played Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, since Skyrim came out. 11/11/11, one of the most unique release dates for a game ever. Been playing this game since. It is now 2026, almost 2027, and literally they've done this amount of just horrible crap to games that we've grown up with. Okay, so hopefully they're smart and want to make money and not kill another IP or another game like they did with Veilguard. Dragon Age was literally the competition for this game. I know some people are like, nah, like, if you've never played Dragon Age Origins, I suggest you go play it. That was one of the, no, not one, is the best Dragon Age game ever. Origins. Buy the entire game, all the DLCs, play it from the beginning of the game all the way through, and play every DLC in order. Best Dragon Age game ever. Dragon Age 2 was okay, was my favorite. The one after that was definitely slightly better, but then Veilguard came out, and Veilguard was just hot garbage. That's exactly my worry with what they're going to do with Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be hot garbage and is going to be a complete and total revamp. Now, granted, I could be wrong, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I don't think so. So that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys agree with some of the stuff we want to see in the game. There's so much more I want to see in the game and how I want them to go about it. But at the same time, with how long they've been working on this game and with the projected release date for this game, yeah, because Starfield was something that they worked on for 10 plus years, and Starfield sucked. Like, I never played it. I saw it. My wife beat that whole story in 8 hours. That is not a good story, in my opinion. RPG game story should definitely be a lot longer than fucking 8 hours. Because then, if the story's only 8 hours, the rest of the game better be dynamic and entertaining and full of like side quests and missions and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't. And they worked on that game for 10 plus years. Oh my god. That is my worry on what they're going to do. This is going to get Starfielded, and it's going to be bad. So, hopefully that's not the case, but yeah. Make sure you guys go check out W.GG, my channel sponsor. Get 10% off if you use my code TacticalGaming90. Link and all that's going to be in the comment section down below. Pinned comment. Or just go to my YouTube. It's there. It's W.GG/TacticalGaming90. Link and all that takes you directly there. Already generally generates the 10% off when you go to checkout. But if it asks for the code, just use TacticalGaming90. All one word. Uppercase T, uppercase G, TacticalGaming90. Get 10% off. So, hopefully you all enjoyed this. Catch me for the next one, guys. Later.